Thing is working. Okay, so we're back. We took a few days off to enjoy the season. Let's see. And so much has happened. I mean, we didn't take off, right? We just took off, but we didn't take off because so much is going on, right? So much is going on, and because of that, people are coming forward. They're sick and tired of what no accountability, right? No arrests, and they're asking, why aren't there any arrests? Because President Trump absolutely wants them to be arrested, right? So why isn't this getting done? And then you have Jaime Esparza's name coming up. You have Colin Whitten's name coming up. You have Stephen Spitzer's name coming up of obstruction. And then on the, and this is in Richard's case, and on the border, I would say the borderland case because of the Walmart mass shooting and all the victims there. Then you have, of course, Carlos Manuel Salas's name coming up, and Cesar Hargi's name coming up, and of course, just a slew of officials under Governor Campos, and her mother. Her mother, her mother is a big part of all of this, and she had oversight uh, of the funeral home, the mortuary operations, health care of these kind of operations, the health of them, and what happened? Fraud. I mean, people were given construction debris for full, urns full of this construction debris instead of the remains of their loved ones. And the Plenitude Crematorium really stole all these bodies. Not only is it fraud when it comes to all of the death certificates and all of the other mortuary paperwork, all the paperwork, and then the allegations, tons of allegations of stolen identity and insurance collections, the recycling of the bodies to falsely claim that they were unidentified migrants and collect on humanitarian aid over and over again, recycling these bodies through the funeral homes that they were connected to, which is way more than a half a dozen, and these are transnational funeral homes, one being, of course, a major one being purchased, and of course, the Arellano Quran family being purchased, totally connected to the purchase funeral homes. And, uh, you know, it's, it's, it's very clear when you put all the pieces together what they were up to, and it's called fraud. It's called fraud at any expense. They could, commit sacrilege, absolutely commit any kind of violence against God, right? They want to commit violence against God, God's word, God's law, God's creation. And they have no care. They don't care. They can be damned to hell. They don't care. Um, I guess they don't understand what hell is, right? So, um, so here we are. Let's see if they don't care. Yes, thank you, Laura, for coming on. And we have been getting so many leads and so much information that's what this is about. That we are getting official documents, and those documents, we released one today on Dallas Wayne Hart. in August of 2021. Um, and it just revealed a lot of information. And so that is being really investigated, what all that means, that information that was on that document. And we just want to say thank you to everybody that's sharing, putting pressure on these officials that we can get move this forward, right? That we can move this forward, and we're so grateful for these official documents that we're getting with so much information on there. There's a lot of information on there about his vehicle, about where he's living. Um, and so, you can tell that we are really moving that needle in our favor to get Richard's remains repatriated. Um, the pressure is absolutely on because we have the truth on our side. And the more truth that comes out, um, the more pressure that they feel because they operate in deception all the time by, they're imposters. They are unreliable sources. They, they just operate in deception all the time with all of their lies and their playbook. They have this really stupid playbook over and over and over again that they use, playing victim and then committing atrocious sacrilegious crimes, recycling dead bodies and giving loved ones urns filled with construction debris. And of course, the murder of our son, the trafficking, the stealing of his body, the dismembering of it, the trafficking it over to uh, Mexico. And this was all aided and abetted by the generals, right? The generals, the 44 four-star generals. I don't know why we have so many. We had seven, I believe seven during World War II with twice as large as Army and not even the technology for communication like we do today. And we were better off. We were better off. Now we are so bloated. We're so bloated, and it has caused a lot of corruption and a lot of compromising with foreign terroristic organizations. It has caused mutiny. And clearly, people just like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what's going on because there's an internal, like, civil war or mutiny going on inside of our government um, agencies and institutions, and also which includes our military. And that's why things are going as slow as they are, as far as sending all of the illegals that came into the country illegally. And I really take issue with that because of my son-in-law who had to stand in line, for years. Not literally stand in line, but, when you're going through trying to get a green card, the process is long. And he did it all legally. And then COVID hit, uh, it's crazy. It's so crazy. And not to want to take advantage of it, while these criminals, these fraudsters, totally took advantage of the whole COVID situation. We know that they did, and they pocketed money that was not theirs. I can say that definitively. We have absolutely information that they pocketed money that wasn't theirs to take. So it was one big fraud. And if that's going to be a fraud, and then of course with Mayo being a fraud, um, then of course Dallas Hart is a fraud, right? He's a fraudster. We know he's a fraudster. I talked to him on the phone. I'm probably one of the very few mothers that have ever talked to the prime suspect in the murder of our son, the murder of your son, to talk to them on the phone, right? A couple times. So, and also his father. Um, and this is, their very, very close connection with Marlon Soto. I know they have a very close connection with Marlon Soto because they told me they did. Okay. Um, and, it's just so odd, um, because these are all recorded, verified conversations, and um, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt that there is a close relationship with CID, and of course, CID is Marlon Soto, is Tavita Nusa, who had his badge revoked. And it's not just close. I mean, Tavita Nusa is family, right? Absolutely family. And his brother is mortuary operations officer, Solomon Nusa, right? A major, Solomon Nusa, who also departed from the army. Um, but with this, I can tell you that these documents clearly show the connections, right? Show these connections between these individuals. And we know it's all about LLCs, right? It's all about the LLCs. And so this is kind of very exciting news, um, because we're getting closer. Okay, we're getting closer because as we're getting closer to the generals are, really very important in all of this because people really respect generals, right? But these generals that are involved in this case have betrayed us, and they have taken all of our goodwill, all of our support, all of everything that we give them, and they abused it. It's very clear that they abused it. They forgot who they were working for. They forgot what their mission was. They forgot what their creed is. They forgot if they have a creed, right? And so this is very, very clear that the generals were up to no good, right? And I want to address something. Any talk about Richard being, somewhere else still alive or whatever, uh, you know, there is no indication at all of any sign of life. Okay. Matter of fact, all of the proof, all of the evidence, all of the evidence is that he was murdered on Fort Bliss. And we should have started out with that. I forgot to do that. 1,959 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss, and he was taken to the arms room in that same building, 2479. And they took his life. They took his life because uh, he was a whistleblower. Because he was a whistleblower. and and not just any whistleblower, a documenting whistleblower. So and he filed, and so he was a huge threat, and we know this because Jaime Esparza took interest in Richard, because Ray Velarde, the billionaire kingpin, most dangerous man in the world, lawyer, took interest in Richard. Um, their names are on the documents. And like this document that we have today, with all of this information from addresses to vehicles to other information on it, um, it clearly shows you, you know, he, who he is. Very problematic. I mean, he has judgments against him right now, y'all. Okay, he has judgments against him right now. Dallas Hart has judgments against him right now. Okay. He has a lot of problems. And he is the prime suspect in the murder of our son. And this means that the generals have covered it up. That even on that day, they were covering it up because of other information that's on those documents clearly show that they were being, well, covering it up. Absolutely. Putting things in place so that there would be no more scrutiny on Dallas Hart, right? Because Dallas Hart would lead to the smuggling of weapons and ammunition. Dallas Hart would lead to the worst type of crimes against children. Remember, his mother signed an affidavit right during the time when Richard lost his life, right afterwards, saying that, there was a 7-year-old in the bedroom that, the worst type of crimes were perpetrated on this child, that there was this kind of activity going on in her household, and she failed to report it. She failed to report it for years. So that is very, very problematic. And that needs to get out because children are being hurt, right? And families are being hurt. Think about her with her mother. Um, she, how do you recover? How do you recover? It's all very problematic, very angry. Uh, how do Dallas? This information, this document clearly shows a residence. Um, I don't even know if he was living at home. I don't know what he was using this residence for. Uh, all I know is, he is surrounded in um, the uh, the accusations of incest, the accusations of the worst type of crimes against children, the accusations against failure to report, the accusations in our son's case, in our son's case, and yeah, Dallas Hart. More and more information is coming out. And I just want to say thank you to those that share these official documents with us because there's a lot of information on there that gives us additional leads. So, with El Mayo, is El Mayo, if he's taking interest in Richard and Dallas Hart taking interest in Richard, does El Mayo and Dallas Hart have any kind of connection? Right? And, this whole thing with Jaime Esparza, does he have any connection? Or any of the AUSAs, Steven Spitzer? Because Steven Spitzer has a connection with the Mayella family, right? A very close relationship with the Mayella family. He absolutely knew that who the Mayellas were, who, Patrick Crucius's brother was marrying Alexis Mayella. He absolutely knew about that. Never a word. So, yeah, there's just a lot to pray about and a lot to sleep over. And um, we're just very grateful for all of you. Please share, 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 and share even more. Um, with any information that we have put out there. So thank you so much. Let's see, I have a lot of comments here. One thing that made so much sense in your live last night is that the Mayo and the Chapo's never got a mugshot. And I honestly don't think they ever stepped into a jail cell. No, they weren't taken. They were not taken to the jailhouse. They were taken, maybe eventually, but they weren't taken to the jailhouse. They were taken to the FBI building. Absolutely. So this was really a political maneuver to get the Harris Biden campaign. At that point, it was just, they just look at the timetable. Just days before, they attempted to, and I don't want to say these people attempted, I should say it a little different. There was an attempt on President Trump's life 4 days before this. And then all of a sudden this happens, right? This happens to a political maneuver to increase the Harris vote, to say I'm hard on trafficking, where clearly she never was. She didn't have a record for being tough on trafficking ever. So, excuse me, but who will think that he would still be alive and away from a beautiful, um, you know, it really doesn't matter. I get a lot of questions, and there's a lot of people talking about Richard Halliday right now, and we have absolutely checked and checked again. Anybody that was a witness saying that they saw Richard or whatever, uh, this was false information. There's nothing to corroborate it. Um, what is being corroborated over and over again is like, where is Richard, right? Don't tell me in today's world, where is Richard? And I can tell you that his remains, we believe, are at Plenitude Crematorium. Um, and the evidence with the canine getting a hit, right, with the Christmas search by General Bernabe, without letting us know that, and we were there, and we were, climbing every mountain, going down every highway, crossing every stream, whatever it took to cooperate with Fort Bliss and with El Paso. And the way Bill Hicks responded to us, the way Veronica Escobar responded to us, it all confirms that, and of course, our hard evidence that I can't reveal to you, that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. Okay. And so, I just wanted to clear the air. There is absolutely nothing that indicates that Richard is over there. I would not be surprised if Dallas Hart turned up as a suicide just so they will drop the case. I don't think so. There's too many others involved in this. Biden and El Paso politicians were and are working with terroristic cartels. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's been proven over and over again. So, yeah. I mean, why does a lot of Maru's government for the state of Chihuahua don't live in Chihuahua? They live in the United States, or they have a house in the United States. Right? I mean, think about that. Biden and El Paso politicians were and are working with terrorists. Wow. Those are huge, huge claims, and valid claims, very valid claims. So, backed up by a lot of evidence, backed up by a lot of resources. And so, that's how we operate, patience and looking at all the resources and the evidence. So, thank you so much, everybody. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.